Time now is just coming up to 25 minutes past 12. We've been talking about it all morning. People in all of England, most of Scotland, must now stay at home, except for a handful of permitted reasons. The whole of the UK is in some sort of lockdown at the moment. Are you going to face a fine if you break the rules this time round? Have you seen many police in past lockdowns enforcing strict rules? Are they going to be doing more of that the third time around? Let's talk to John Apter, who's the National Chair of the Police Federation of England and Wales. Good afternoon to you, John Apter.
Good afternoon to you.
Thanks very much for being with us on 5 Live this afternoon. So are we going to see more kind of enforcement of the rules this time round?
Yeah, I think it's reasonable to expect that police will be enforcing more because there's more of an expectation from the public, to be fair. Certainly during the first lockdown, this was unprecedented. I mean, we're still in unprecedented times, aren't we? But it was absolutely new for everybody, including my colleagues. And there was a real sense that we all had to work together to do our very best. And the vast majority of the public did comply with those lockdown rules. What we've seen as we've moved on is a hardcore element of people, certainly not a majority, but a hardcore element who, for whatever reason, they either don't like being told what to do, or they don't believe that there's a virus out there, they don't want to wear a mask, and they are willfully breaking the rules. And we're seeing that more and more. We're seeing more protests. I mean, recently we had a group of individuals outside of a hospital chanting that the virus was a hoax, whilst in that very building there are people dying of it. So I think the public expect, and my colleagues know that there's an expectation on them that they have to do the enforcement. So we will naturally see more enforcement anyway, because more people are taking that stance. And you know, I'm a police officer. Nobody joined policing to police in this way, because it is very different and it's alien to us. But we are in a health crisis where more and more people are dying, and we all have to play our part. And what I've said to colleagues is, if them breaking up a house party and issuing fines, if that, as dramatic as it may sound, prevents somebody being admitted to intensive care and ultimately dying, then we should give those tickets out without any fear of criticism from the wider public, because the wider public, I am certain, completely understand what we're trying to do and trying to achieve.
Let me get this impression right. So
yeah,
we're talking about extreme behaviour. Extreme in the sense breaches. Of under the rules. Yeah, willful breaches. So in England, the rule is 2 people from up to 2 households can meet outdoors. If 2 police officers are on the street and they see 3 people together.
Yeah. So I know what you're going to say. To reassure, what you're not going to have almost like a SWAT team of police officers pouncing on people with this 3 together. Our principle of engaging and explaining, and that's been throughout this whole pandemic. Of course, that will still be there. And if there is something such as you've described, where 3 people are together, police officers will engage with those people and explain. Now, 9 times out of 10. They will either say apologies. Most people know now what the rules are, but if they didn't, or if there was a misunderstanding, then and they listen and they do as they're told, then that's fine. But what we are finding is that there are more people pushing back. There's more people pushing back. So that's something that we have to deal with. And if that means enforcement, then that's enforcement.
Have you got enough officers at the moment for this?
I would always say no. Not only we're also managing not only the pandemic, but it's the day-to-day business. It's the 999 calls and so on that we're having to deal with. But on top of that, police officers are human beings, and we are as susceptible to this virus as anybody else. We are having an increasing number of officers who are either contracting the virus or they're having to self-isolate. That means they're not available.
Do you think they should be higher up in terms of prioritisation for receiving the vaccine?
Yes, yeah, I do. And we've called for this. We've raised it with the National Chiefs Council, who are the leaders within policing. We've raised it with the government. This is not about saying that police officers should be ahead of the most vulnerable in society or colleagues from the NHS, but we should be prioritised. And there's been no mention of it at all by the Prime Minister at this point. And that needs to change, because we are in a situation where policing is vulnerable. And that's the reality.
You and I have spoken many times before
Yes.
in the media, and I always wonder, John Apter, how are you? Because
How am I?
I've been talking to so many people a day after the morning after Boris Johnson's announcement. You'd have heard it yesterday.
Yeah, yeah.
How are you this morning?
Yeah, you know what? It's a strange time, isn't it, for everybody? I mean, as a police officer, and I represent 130,000 police officers, and I just want to do my best for them. I want to do the best for the public. I didn't join policing to be enforcing, giving people tickets for more than two people gathering. That's not the style of policing we want. So it is it's a real dilemma for us. But also, as a dad, I worry about my kids. My son started university in September. He's not had the experience he wanted. It's devastating. This whole pandemic has devastated our society. Some good has come out of it, but I don't think we're seeing and feeling that at the moment, certainly not in the current climate. And my real concern is when we do, and everything is crossed that the vaccine does what we hope, when we do move to a sense of normality, we have to pick up the pieces of what will be a very battered and bruised society, and we need to be ready and prepared for that.
Wish you well, John Apter, National
Thank you.
Chair of the Police Federation of England and Wales. Thanks.